And really pleased to be able to come up tonight because I think it's really important the different groups around the country join up together, because basically we're all fighting for the same thing. The important thing about Edinburgh Coalition Against Poverty is that we're all claimants ourselves. We're either unemployed or on sickness benefit or in low paid jobs, so none of us are getting paid for what we do in Edinburgh Coalition Against Poverty, and we're no experts either. Like, we haven't got degrees in law or anything, but we're just folk that, like yourselves, that's no doubt that's been through the system, and so over the years we've picked up how to deal with it and how to fight back. And that's an important thing, that we're no anything like the Citizens Advice Bureau. We're not neutral. You know, we see our advocacy work as part of a wider social struggle against injustice and against exploitation, and ultimately against the whole system that's ripping us off. So when we're fighting an individual case, we're basically totally on the side of the claimant, you know. So if, for example, maybe according to the rules, Sally hadn't done enough to look for work that week, you know, that doesn't mean we're not going to support her. On the contrary, we're going to work out what we can say to make sure that Sally does get her job seekers allowance, because the thing is that the rich have stolen the whole world off us. So, you know, they're the ones that are at fault. We're fighting to get what we need. So we sort of back people up totally, and the same applies if it's to do with a so-called fraud case, you know, because the thing is, the whole system's unfair, you know, and it's becoming increasingly unfair, with folks' money being stopped for totally ridiculous reasons, you know. So our message is people have got to support each other, and one of the things that we do is encourage people to always take somebody with them to any appointment at the job centre or at the council or anywhere else that might be a problem. And you've got a total right to do that. It's something that the job centre authorities don't like, and they sometimes try and stop us. And I know that Tony's had this problem here as well, but it's something that we've established as a right over the years, because a few years ago I accompanied somebody to the Leith Job Centre in Edinburgh, and they threatened to call the police to have us chucked out. So I said, well, we've got a right to accompany people, call the police then. And in the end they didn't, they backed down. But following that, we made a complaint, an official complaint, that they were trying to deny us our rights. And after that we got letters, not just from the local job centre, but from the Department of Work and Pensions chief executive down in London, actually saying people had the right to be accompanied. So that's a really important right that we encourage people to take up all the time. And if they ever try and stop you doing that, you should just sort of tell them that it's an established right. And we've actually got a wee leaflet that quotes the DWP chief executive's letter, so that's maybe quite a good resource to have. I'm not sure if I've got quite enough. Then the other thing, the other problem you can face, if they do accept you can accompany the claimant, is that they might try and stop you actually speaking in the meeting, because I know this has happened to you, Tony? Yeah. They say, oh well, you can accompany the claimant, but you can't speak, you know, you can't, they sometimes say you can't speak on their behalf. But what we say is, if you've got the right to be accompanied, you've got the right to have somebody speak on your behalf, as long as it's what you agree to. Because otherwise, what's the point of having somebody with you? You know, there's no point having somebody just sat there like a statue, you know, that can't say anything. And what we often say as well is, well, look, you're probably in the PCS union, aren't you? The Job Centre Workers Union. If you were being accompanied to a meeting with a manager and you had your PCS union rep with you, the union rep would have the right to speak, wouldn't they? And you know, they can't really say anything to that. Sometimes they still push it, and in that case you can either just totally insist, or what I sometimes do is I say, well, okay, but obviously I'm still going to be able to have to speak to the claimant, and they say, well, yeah, I suppose so. So what I'll do is I'll say like, well, Jimmy, this is the claimant, Jimmy, well, maybe you should say to Mr. Bloggs, the advisor here, that you've already applied for 133 jobs this week, and really that is enough, you know. So you know, obviously I'm still speaking to Mr. Bloggs, the advisor, but I'm doing it through Jimmy, the claimant, you know. And usually after that goes on for 5 or 10 minutes, they just give up, you know. But the main thing is not to be intimidated and stick to your guns. And you know, I usually find the best way is to stay calm, but you know, be very assertive. And usually they'll back down, but if they don't, then the organisation as a whole has to be able to take it up and make an official complaint, and maybe even do an action at the job centre a few days later to stress the point, you know, because that's another of our principles, that we try and get things sorted out initially through phone calls or meetings or letters or whatever, but we've also got a solidarity phone tree, so that if we just can't get things sorted out through the official channels, we can call on folk to turn up as a group to the job centre or to the council office or to a counsellor's surgery, to just have a show of strength and show that unless they sort things out, we're going to actually take action. So I think that's some of the basics about what we do.